Hey everybody, welcome to LED Live. Have you ever wondered, is there any serious problem with movies with witchcraft in them?
Find out on this episode of LED Live.
Welcome back, everybody. We are excited because we have a new person on our team, Alex Castillejos. Welcome to the team. He's finally made it out here from California. No, Oregon. Sorry, Oregon.
On fire.
Yes. So all the fires that happened, he finally decided to come over here to Tornadoville. So we're excited to have you.
Thank
welcome
you.
aboard. He's going to do a lot of our content in Spanish. So, if you guys have any need for Spanish content, he's going to be pumping some of that stuff out, and we're very excited about that. It's awesome. So cool. Alex, tell us a little bit about today's topic.
Well, the title is Modern Witchcraft, and with these things coming up with, Halloween and the Day of the Dead, and in Mexico, in Spanish, the Dia de los Muertos, and growing up in Mexico, is a culture thing, is growing up, and, even though that I grew up, as a Christian, it's around you, it's part of you. I mean, you can just put it that way.
Yeah, you go to Walmart and there's skeletons hanging from the ceiling, and it's
everywhere.
Yeah.
And and later on, I'm gonna share with you guys, pictures and the tradition, of Mexico, and I'm sure in Latin America is a little different, but in Mexico it's very, very heavy. But I just want to share with you guys, growing up, watching those some movies of witches. We were talking about Halloween. October 31st. I remember this movie, and I was kind of scared. I was kind of like, so it's. I mean, I'm sure you guys watched this movie before, and it was kind of like comedy, stuff like that. But it shows, the devil there, and very magic, practical magic thing. But let me tell you, that was like maybe early 90s or something like that, or maybe late 80s.
Yeah, my parents wouldn't let me watch that one. So I actually missed out on that one. But just looking at it, they look goofy. They look like they purposely made to look ugly. You don't want to be these people. It doesn't look like.
So your parents wouldn't let you watch Hocus Pocus?
Yeah, my parents were
Or The Craft? They were kind of against witchcraft?
Well, anything that looked demonic or something like that, Nightmare Before Christmas and things like that. But it didn't take long before I started hanging out at a friend's house, and there it is. I'm going to watch it there.
Right. And it seems like every culture or every generation has had these kind of things coming back around, right? I mean, for you guys, these are probably a little bit older.
Like
what would be
Harry
for your
Potter
generation?
type of stuff. That was a big no.
Twilight.
In my household. Twilight, that was also a no.
Can I ask a question though? Have you seen them?
No, I actually haven't.
Wow, that's awesome.
Like the same with
That's
Mikey
awesome.
going to friend's house, and I would see clips, but I haven't seen anything from start to finish. I haven't read any of the books.
I remember when I used to go to movies a lot, and you know how you'd like be waiting for your movie to come, and you'd sort of duck in another movie. And I remember ducking into Harry Potter one time and just being like, what is this? It's like all this sorcery and witchcraft, and like for whatever reason, even though I kind of walked away from the church, I just was never drawn to that kind of stuff either. Like I sort of always had this in the back of my mind that it's wrong, and just knew that I shouldn't
didn't
be.
get seduced by it like I did and a lot of other people.
Yeah. But like I say, growing up in Mexico, and you hear all this, the Day of the Dead is so popular, and witches and legends and all the stuff, of Mexico. You kind of like question yourself. You're kind of like, it's kind of interesting, And when you see, movies from Hollywood, you know, and flying things and all stuff. I was like, hey, I want to go check it out, right?
Right.
So early 90s, you know, in high school, and I mean, the movie, I mean, I'm sure you guys, if you guys,
This movie, man.
I know, I mean, you got
yeah.
maybe like 30 up, you know about this movie, The Craft.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, when these movies show up, when I was in high school, I mean, it's like the movie. I mean, like all the teenagers, you want to dress like that, you want to act like that, even how they look like that. And it is not just about the appearance, but it's like what they doing. You know, what they mess around with the little fire, you know, and when and all sorts of powers.
This movie made it look so realistic. Every time I share my testimony, I have to talk about this movie because this is what looked.
Attraction.
It was more realistic than Harry Potter and all that kind of stuff. This was like, whoa. And so I started digging around the internet and reading forums of people who were practicing Wicca, and it just made it look really attractive. For one, you got 4 hot chicks and they're, you know, playing with witchcraft and all that. But yes, it's really enticing and makes it look more realistic, not fairy tale, you know?
Yeah. Because it was like 4 girls in high school. You know what I'm saying? It was not like a Harry Potter, you know, like some castle somewhere.
It's more relatable.
That's right. But let me tell you, I mean, like I said, you know, this movie was so interesting about Wicca, like what you were saying. And yeah, I mean, we didn't know in that time, you know, what Wicca was. Well, me in Mexico, you know, like, but now, I mean, it's a religion, you know, and practical religion, so realistic.
Yeah, it's kind of hard and a little confusing as well growing up when your religious beliefs and your home lifestyle is very different from as soon as you walk out the door, all of society is totally like against what you believe. So in school, I mean, I went to Christian school. We didn't celebrate Halloween, but they gave out candy when we left for the day. So it's like, okay, we don't celebrate Halloween, but they're giving us candy. So it's like, are bits and pieces okay? Or, you know, it's just trying to, I guess, live in this world, but also try to stay unspotted.
It's really interesting what they do to make things attractive because I'm saying, you know, Scotty, like I never was into the Harry Potter stuff, never really into the witchcraft stuff, but that movie, The Craft, that's one I did see.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to say it's probably because there was 4 girls in it and I was a teenager. And so that's probably the hook, you know, that's what made it appealing. But even, you know, with people being fascinated with the dead, you know, it's like, it was in the James Bond movie, the last one, Spectre, you know, they had this whole scene on Dia de los Muertos. So it was all done in one take, you know. They had all the people in the colorful costumes. But you think about Coco, right?
That's right.
Very colorful, right? Made to be really visually appealing. So they're always using some kind of visual appeal as a hook.
That one's for kids, cartoons. Yeah.
Otherwise, you know, it's like, wait a minute, like witchcraft, stay away.
Yeah.
That's generally what the thought is, you know, it's like Christian, just stay away. But that, there was a hook, right?
Yeah.
Now, I don't remember, like maybe you guys can refresh my memory, because I think I did see this movie as well in high school, but I don't remember what it was about. I mean,
3 witches, they were in high school, and they just were practicing witchcraft, and when the new girl came to their school, they're like, there's something about her, I think she's like the missing link or whatever, but she was new, didn't know anybody, so they gravitated towards her and like, hey, you know, befriended her. And
you need the 4th so you can gain the 5th.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
I mean, I think that's the
4
whole premise.
elements, and then the spirit is the 5th.
And then the 5th is the spirit, the 5th element.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't realize how like satanic, you know, that idea is, and they sort of glamorize it for sure.
Yeah, and nowadays, you know, we're talking about like a modern, you know, witchcraft. You know, I mean that was back then, but I'm sure a lot of people, if you know,
it was
the
kind of
40s, you know, stuff. I mean, they watch it again. It's that like, you know, their eyes.
It was kind of edgy for its time. Where now we're seeing it more and more.
Yeah, but now, you know, we have Netflix, right? And this Sabrina, you know, The Adventures of Sabrina, and seriously, I don't know if you guys watch or something. I just watch the beginning, you know, just to have a little.
That the show, it's like a sitcom, and she has like a cat or something.
Used to be.
It used to be. That was in the 90s. That it was something like.
That was the tame version.
Yeah, that was just like.
Because I think it was even called Sabrina the Teenage Witch, wasn't it?
Yeah, that one too.
But that's what I'm noticing now. All these shows that we grew up on, our parents even grew up on, they're re-releasing, but it's so much darker. Sabrina the Teenage Witch, of course, is about witchcraft. You shouldn't watch it anyway, but they made it comical, lighthearted. Now there's a straight-up pentagram, and it's written in blood. And there's even a show also about the Archie comics. You know, our parents grew up on the Archies or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
There's a show about it now. It's named after what their high school's called or something. It's so dark. They play with Ouija boards and everything.
She has the Baphomet horns on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to see because the picture's so dark. Yeah, totally.
But look at what is an interesting picture.
Yeah, and she's laying down in a
a
pentagram
pentagram.
with like a 8-ball, which is, you know, typical of you know, asking for spirits questions and things, and then of course a book that is
But let me
probably
tell you
witches.
that
With a
when
pentagram on it.
yeah, pentagram there, and but let me tell you, when you see that, I mean, you see
This is seduction, dude.
seduction, you know, and you know,
Yeah.
hot
Notice she's
girl
wearing
there,
red
some-
as well, which is
Yeah.
kind of interesting.
and
Red
black cat, you know,
lipstick,
stuff like
short
that.
skirt, just
Yeah.
you can tell it's supposed to be seducing, just like the craft was.
So this girl is a teenager in high school and has a book. So I mean, we're talking about psychology thing, you know. I mean, like, she's gonna teach you something, or what she's studying about, you know. I mean, it's not just like, oh yeah, she's going to high school, you know. But you just in the first episode, they show you how she became a witch, step by step. Why they need to be filming that?
Yeah, they're
Right.
teaching you
So
how to
people are
do it.
gonna do it, you know. I mean, the practitioner, you know, that practice that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there was another movie. It came out in the 70s, I think, but they redid it. What was the name? Suspiria? Remember that one? Suspiria?
That's real.
Yeah, so the new one, it was, who was those people? Truth TV, I can't remember. The girl and the guy that do it. Truth Stream
True
Media.
stream.
Went to see it just so they could like break it down, and they said they had to walk out of it. It was so gruesome.
Wow.
They had a scene where there's like naked girls and they're slitting each other's stomachs open, and it was really like
Wow.
a
So
Wiccan,
dark.
some kind of pagan ritual, you know, right there on screen. So they're getting more and more bold about showing ritualistic things like eyes wide shut and stuff. You know, they
Right.
just put it right there on the screen,
Right.
so that you're actually participating in it.
Right.
And I hear a lot of, you know, things I hear, you know, in Little Light Studios, you know, how Hollywood is doctrinating the masses, right?
Yeah.
And seriously, it's like
Yeah.
they're teaching, you know.
Well, you gotta wonder when there's so much witchcraft terminology with the media system. You know what I mean? Like media is the plural form of medium.
Medium.
And you've got like, you know, you change,
Hollywood.
yeah, Hollywood, the witch's wand that you know, puts people to sleep. Then you've got like they're changing channels, and you know, and it's everyone calls it the craft. You have to
Remote
learn your
control.
craft,
Yeah.
and I mean, you just think like
And
there's so
casting,
yeah,
and
casting. You
broadcasting.
cast like the people that are in there. I mean, it's just the terminology is all there. It's promoting and just sort of like, you know, brewing
I
witchcraft.
remember when I used to watch Harry Potter, I had the wand,
You had a wand
and
even.
I actually knew some of the spell.
Wow, isn't that crazy?
Expecto
Yeah.
Patronum.
See, people always go, you know, when we do a show like this, and they'll always write in. You'll see it in the comments, I'm sure. You know, no kids are gonna like actually go out and do that kind of stuff. Well, there's a prime example right
They
there.
haven't done the research. There's
Yeah.
so much research. Even
Yeah.
Newsweek, when they cover in the LED about witchcraft on the rise in America, Newsweek covered witchcraft on the rise in America, and this is a secular magazine, and they said, could it be the growing up on Harry Potter or even yoga? They mentioned yoga in there, and we got Christians today who don't even know about that.
Yeah, what is it, like the third fastest growing religion?
What, yoga?
No,
witchcraft. I'm
like
sure.
Wicca.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been growing a lot.
Kids may not watch something and then turn around and do it right away, but when you watch something, it's within you.
That's right.
If someone makes a reference or a joke is cracked, you're going to relate to it and probably laugh. Or if a group of kids are together and then they start, it'll probably be harder for that kid to abstain from that because he's watched it, he's in it. Peer pressure, exactly. So, I mean, once it's there, it's there. It can come out at any time.
Yep. And a lot of what we do is dictated by our subconscious. So these things are going in there, and then they're just laying dormant until the right situation happens, and then they'll come out.
One thing I thought was interesting too, she's sitting there holding this gigantic book with a huge pentagram on it, and she's got guys all on her, and it looks seductive. But if she had a Bible, oh, stop shoving your religion down my throat.
So I just have to share with you. I got an email from YouTube the other day. We had a video clip on Video Mission, and it was a girl sitting on a bed reading a Bible, and they took it down because they said that it violated the YouTube laws of whatever, and that it was inappropriate deemed for the age range of whatever. And she was literally just sitting on a bed reading a Bible. Like nothing seductive, nothing at all like this. And I'm telling you, like, this is okay. Like this is all over and that's fine, but reading a Bible's not? Like, wow.
Here's a crazy statistic. This is from Newsweek magazine, and this was published in 2018 in November, okay? 1.5 million practicing or potential practicing witches across the U.S. Witchcraft has more followers than the 1.4 million mainline members of the Presbyterian Church.
Wow.
And that's just ones who admit it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who won't admit that they're a witch.
So those are potential practicing. I mean, they're not saying that they're all, but they're talking about how it's dramatically rising, especially among millennials because they're rejecting Christianity.
And I think they're looking for something of tangible power. You know what I mean? Like they're not seeing that same sort of thing within Christianity, and so they're looking for something. Well, how do I validate that there's something out there beyond what we can see and hear and touch? And you know, and it's like if they would actually just build a relationship with Christ and see that He does in His way. Yeah, it's like when we really order our lives after what the Bible and what Jesus is really wanting us to do, then He shows up in our lives in a mighty way. Yeah. So if He's not showing up, you got to kind of like work backwards and say, what am I not, like, you know, has my relationship not correct?
You said a lot of millennials are falling into witchcraft and those spiritual practices because they're rejecting Christianity. Does that speak to the fact that there is no middle ground, you know, for God?
I mean,
for the devil.
What I think it speaks to is, maybe that, but what I really think probably the root of it is they're growing up and they're seeing a lot of hypocrisy, and they're also not realizing the power of Christ in their own life. And because of that, they're looking for power somewhere else. And they're getting something tangible in other things like Wicca. And so then they're like, oh, wow, yeah, I mean, this is power.
I can feel it.
I can feel it, something's happening. Instead of realizing, hypocrisy is there, but how can Christ change me? How can that power, make a difference in my life? And I don't think they're getting it because it's not being either taught or realized in the churches that they're going to.
And it's interesting though, like Wiccan is more or less what power I can like obtain, as opposed to like God, working His power. It's all about God versus us, and I'm going to make this happen, or Christianity is like God's going to make it happen.
Well, here in last year, it was a new show on Netflix, and the Latino Netflix. It called Siempre Bruja. It means always witch.
You think of witchcraft, you think dark, evil, this and that. When you see a word that says that with flowers and, it's pretty and it's daytime and it's like, there's nothing dark about that whatsoever. I know, right? That's the shift that they're, doing even in different cultures. I mean, it's like, they're putting this thing out there like, oh, look how pretty and flowery this is.
Yeah, if I had to guess, I'd be like, what is it, beautiful summer?
Like there's not, blood dripping down and, pentagrams.
That's phase one, right? That's the hook.
That's right.
That's what leads you into the real thing. Yeah.
And the next slide, in the beginning of the show, they show that a long time ago, this lady, it was a witch, and they found out, back to, Dark Ages, stuff like that, they burned you, dead. And there's something happening about this show, because it's comedy and, witchcraft and love, right? And it seems like something happened to her, that she come alive in today's age.
Oh, okay.
So she's from like 1500, but she doesn't know anything about your cell phone.
So like a reincarnation.
Kind of like a comedy thing, like what is this, and she doesn't know how to control her powers and stuff.
Wow, that's magic.
Yeah, stuff like that. She's trying to find. Put the comedy thing there like that, but at the same time,
Another
she's
hook.
Yeah, not a hook. And she's practicing, magic. You want to start, and I mean, you saw it a little bit.
Just like the craft.
Yeah. And interesting. They had those tattoos, the stars and everything, and Ouija boards.
Yeah, this is just in your face. It's
Yeah.
not
All this stuff
sugar-coated.
I'm showing you is just what is in the show. She's practicing and doing, and she found another witches, and nowadays, and they go to the beach and doing all these practical,
Yeah, this looks. All these scenes were almost identical with the craft. The levitation, the pentagram, the Ouija board, and even being on the beach with the bonfire as they're invoking the spirits. It's literally like. You said this is a recent show?
Yeah, that was last year.
Yeah. So this is another way of just rebooting the craft.
Yeah.
But in a different culture. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it's really interesting how, like, the
this is
devil's
the
working
Latino
and
culture.
all these different avenues, whether it be different demographics or different ages, I mean, he did it in our day and age.
Yeah.
Now he's doing it to our kids' day and age.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
But let me tell you, remember I started with the craft? I believe next year or this year.
Halloween.
Oh, this year in Halloween, just a few more days, the craft legacy, they're redoing it again.
The movie.
The movie.
Yeah. Speaking of craft reboot, so here again we see the seduction. The girls laying down. Two of them are holding hands. Pentagram right there in your face on the cover. It's either being seduced by women or, like you said, like a beautiful picture, flowers and things like that.
Remember Practical Magic?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's another one that kind of took that approach. It's like just two attractive women. They're
Like a romantic
nice,
comedy
nothing wrong
or
with
something
it.
kind of.
What is with that?
Yeah, why is it always led by the women? I mean, that's kind of interesting, right? Like,
What's the
serpent
I know
or-
witches for the woman, so what's the man?
Wizard.
Warlock,
Warlock? Or then
which is the title of the movie that
Oh.
I've seen before too. I don't know why.
I wonder,
dark.
does this mean that there is more women that are involved in the Wiccan religion? I mean, isn't
Statistically, there are.
statistically?
Probably.
Can you be a male and be part of the Wiccan?
But I think
Yeah.
So
women are beautiful to look at even with other women. Girls will say, "Oh, you're so pretty." That doesn't happen with guys.
Right.
So, I mean, if you got beautiful women on a cover of a poster, then girls are probably going to want to see it too. Like, they're drawn to it. Maybe not sexually attracted, but it's just something beautiful about it.
Right.
Yeah.
maybe it's the devil trying to pinpoint everyone's weakness.
yeah.
So when you think of women, the attractive point is, power or like, trying to be more than your physical self, trying to acquire more.
point.
And for a guy, well, they're visual, so use seduction. But the end goal is witchcraft.
That's a very good point.
And if you think about society, it's largely been, I guess, like male dominated, like it's, in business, it's said to be like it's a man's world and these kind of things. So for women, I think there's that draw of power and like, well, I want to be able to take this into my own hands and,
Exactly.
manipulate things to my own end.
Well, yeah, even in the movie, the first one, the girl put a love spell on the dude, and he was like falling around like a puppy and stuff. So yeah, all that power over men, even.
Yeah. And so after 25 years of the first craft, now it's coming again.
It's been that
So
long.
for 25 years, and just coming for another generation, I mean, it's kind of like, okay, let's teach this new generation, once again, how to do witchcraft, in the beginning.
Sadly, the ones who grew up on the first craft are parents now, and they're like, "Oh, I want to take my daughter to see the craft,"
Yeah.
and they're excited. I actually looked
believe-
up a reaction video of people reacting to the new craft, and every time they're just like, "Oh," they're so excited about this religion. Witchcraft is a religion, and you don't see people responding that way when the next Pure Flix movie, yay! Especially not people of the world.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
weird,
And it's just so strange to me that like people would want to invoke spirits. Like if you see any testimonies of people who have invoked spirits, is it ever flowers and roses? No. I mean, it's like fear and you know, they're like can't sleep and they're being tortured and like, why would you want to do that? I mean, that's just like asking for trouble.
I think like what kids say, you know, just we are as human, we just want to be able to control something, and when we are able to do magic, we can control like anything, like an object or a person.
Yeah, we're control freaks.
Yep, basically.
Yeah, and we see the pentagram once again in the new movies. You know,
very interesting that they're putting a pentagram on the forehead. You know, the fact that, you know, symbolically speaking, in the Christian world, you know, the frontal lobe is obviously the seat of your morality, your spirituality, and your will. And so that's like putting the seal of Satan on your forehead and saying, like, yeah, you're mine.
The seal of God.
Yeah, it's very, you know.
Yeah, interesting. And right here is the
parallels of the first one and the second one, all about showing this levitation and stuff. I just think it's ironic that we see stuff like this, but when you see it in a different light, it's not looked at the same. When she's laying stiff and floating up, it looks like witchcraft or something, but we see movies where people are flying and floating around all the time, you know, and it's magic, and it's just, oh, it's fairy tale. The Ouija board has actually been on the rise too. Look at the next slide. Look at this. I mean, you can get Ouija boards at Walmart, Amazon, Kmart. Click the little thing. It says, enter the world of the mysterious and mystifying with the Ouija board. You've got questions, and the spirit world has answers. And the uncanny Ouija board is your way to get them. What do you want to know? Ask your questions with a friend using the pinnacle, or they call it a planchette, and comes with the board. But be patient and concentrate, because the spirits can't be rushed. Handle the Ouija board with respect, and it won't disrespect you. Ages 8 and up. 8? At Kmart and Walmart.
Wow. Yeah, that's scary.
People say this is just a parlor game, it's just nonsense or whatever, but they tell you right there. They're telling you what it is. Ask the spirits will tell you. And the Ouija board has... The sales of the Ouija board have gone up 300% since 2014 when the movie Ouija came out. That's a statistic.
But it doesn't affect us.
It doesn't affect us.
And yeah, when someone says that, I have a feeling that they're focusing on like outward expression of it, like their actions. But what about inwardly? And we were talking about the frontal lobe. Okay, so the frontal lobe is a seat of decision and all of that. So when you're intaking everything but Christ, what is filling up that frontal lobe, that seat of decisions? Where do you draw your decisions from? By the information you have in your mind. So yeah, it can affect, we should look inwardly as well as outwardly. And the inward leads to outward. So it's going to express itself somewhere down the road.
You know what's crazy? A Ouija board on Amazon has 1,684 and 4.3 out of 5-star ratings.
4.3 out of 5.
Because it works.
That means 1,600 people love this thing.
Reviewed it, bought it, reviewed it. And you look at the questions and the comments, and it's pretty crazy.
They're probably sharing experiences and everything, which is just building it up even more.
You wonder if some of them are like sarcastic a little bit. Like this one, it's like, bought this for my daughter, and she loves it, ! Has used it to summon so many demons, well worth the money. I'm just like,
whoa.
Wait a minute. Like, what? Surely that's not.
Yeah, the article I read that said in 2016 or 2014, the Ouija board has gone up 300%. It said it became the Christmas's must-have. That was the Christmas's must-have list.
But let me tell you guys, Halloween, in Mexico, translating Spanish is Dia de las Brujas, the Day of the Witches.
Oh.
So you actually celebrate Halloween?
Well, we don't celebrate.
Like October 31st.
Well, when I was growing up, because I've been in the United States for 21 years. Mm-hmm. So when I was just growing up, it was Halloween, it was like a party and stuff like that, but we didn't do any candy or anything. You do that in November 2nd, is the Day of the Dead. Mm-hmm. And that is just maybe like a promotion or like in the clubs or something like, hey, it's party here, come over here, right? But it's not like you have to dress. Or, I mean, it's nothing. I mean, you know, but it's party, you know, it's party and everything. But the thing is that in Mexico or in Latin America, we put that title, the Day of the Witches, Dia de las Brujas. That's it.
Yeah, we hide our Halloween. What does that mean? You know, but Day of the Witch, you'd probably
It's
you'd
just
know what's up
blank.
with that.
Yeah, and November 2nd is Dia de los Muertos, and the thing is in Mexico is the huge tradition that day, I mean, you honor the dead. It's kind of like here in the United States, kind of like Memorial Day. I mean, you don't honor the dead, but kind of like, well, those people that die, you know, and more focus here in the United States about those people, the veterans, or people in war and stuff like that. Or you remember your loved ones, and you go to the grave, and cleaning, stuff like that. But in Mexico, midnight to midnight. I mean, like the next day. I mean, party, and let me tell you, there's the pictures, candles, flowers. You got the pictures of the loved ones right there, and lots of flowers. And let me tell you, food. Always has to be food, right, in Mexico. I mean, the bread and everything. And I believe in the Bible says that any food, it is offered to the idols. I mean, it's abomination, to Jehovah. And I don't know if it's right, but my dad used to tell me, say, hey, we can buy them, but if those ones that's already in the altar, and if they take it to give it to you, don't eat it. Whatever, only in the marketplace. So, and then it's a huge celebration in the streets.
Wow.
Mexico City was a huge.
It looks like
parade.
the Macy's Day Parade, man.
Oh yeah, it's really huge, and every day it's like they celebrate the death, but this is during the day.
Yeah, nighttime probably gets
During
real
nighttime,
freaky.
it's just crazy.
Kind of gets real freaky.
In different towns, whatever they do, they do, practice witchcraft and voodoo, and they practice that.
Yeah, the day to stay home.
Yeah. So that's the traditional, you grew up, in Mexico is, it's Catholic faith and all the traditional stuff. So grew up as a Christian, it's kind of like your friends call and you're like, hey, you want to come? No, I'm not. Maybe see you tomorrow, stuff like that. And
Yeah, I do remember having like questions like that as a kid, like, why isn't it okay to go to the grave? And you're not praying for the dead, but you can remember, have good memories about them, the family coming together, and you guys just celebrate life.
Yeah.
That should be all right, right?
Yeah, I think so. The Bible talks about David's tomb is with us to this day. I'm sure that people would come and look at the tomb. Yeah, that was David.
I remember, stuff like that. But let me tell you guys, I'm sure you guys know, Harry Potter. I mean, big thing, 1997.
Has it stopped? I keep coming out with movies, don't they?
They had a final season there, final movie.
But she's written other books, and that's where the Fantastic Beasts thing comes in.
That's right.
So I just want to share with you guys, some statistics about the book of Harry Potter 1997 to 2012. The sales, there were more than 225 million copies worldwide, translated into 65 languages.
But that's only up to 2012.
2012. But let me tell you, bro, the question is how many books of Harry Potter have been sold until 2020?
From the beginning up to 2020?
How much do you guys think?
So I would guess.
So from 2012 on, or from 97 to 2020?
Since
Since the
97 to 2020. But let me tell you, 97 to 2012, it was 225, I believe.
Yeah. So I'm going to bet that you're bringing this up, so then there's going to be a sharp increase of sales.
Like $1 billion or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I would guess maybe 800 million.
800 million?
Let's go 9.
9. Well, it was 500 million copies.
500.
Double.
So for 8
Doubled.
years, from 2012, it was 225 in 2012. 2020,
So
it's
in
doubled.
8 years it doubled.
It doubled.
And those
So
are just books.
they're just books. No movies, no nothing, no posters.
Yeah, the movies are really a dumbed down version of the book. They say the real indoctrination comes from the books, like the real teachings in the books, not necessarily just the movies.
Yeah, and we're talking about those books is like that,
Yeah,
Right,
dude.
And sometimes you read a book and there's a movie show up and for 2 hours, oh, the book it was better, I mean the movie was just
Yeah,
I remember parents were real excited because their kids were wanting to read. That was like one of the things
Here
that
we
was
go.
like, oh, they want to read.
My kid's reading. What are they reading? Oh, witchcraft books, but they're reading.
right. And each one of those books, if they're 1,000 pages, I mean, that's like reading the Bible.
Yeah.
You read 6 of those books, you read the Bible 6 times,
I think I read the Twilight book. It's thick.
They're super thick.
I read all the Lord of the Rings books.
That's
Oh, I
thick.
bet
Twice.
those are thick. Yeah, those are like dictionaries.
Yeah, twice. Those are
I don't know if they're big. I just know the movies are long.
The books are
They're
thick.
long.
Yeah.
right. And another question I'm sure you guys are gonna be asking, but what about the Bible, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what's that,
World's
right?
greatest selling book of all time.
Yeah.
right.
So the 10 top most read the books in the world, that's the 4, I believe. No, the third one it was Harry Potter, but the Bible is 3,900 million.
Wow.
So I mean, it was sold, over the last 50 years. That amount.
The top 3 books are like heavy on ideology. It's interesting.
But after that, it's like Lord of the Rings.
Yes, the Lord of the Rings is.
It's number 4 on that
number
list.
4. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Da Vinci Code's on there. Twilight Saga's on there.
Wow.
So now in the new movies of Craft, what do you see?
Yeah, I mean, looking at these images,
What do I see?
what
Worship.
What do you see these girls are doing?
Dude, holding hands and praying, lifting their hands up in the air. They got a book.
Got the book. And Wicca is a religion.
Think about that.
You know, those are almost the same elements as in the sanctuary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got the table of showbread, reading. You've got the praying for incense. You've got the sharing with your friends. That's like the witnessing
It's like
aspect.
a counterfeit.
Candlelight, Light of the World.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to take screenshots from a movie like God's Not Dead, show people praying, sharing the Bible, raising their hands, and then show these and be like, how come you like this, but you won't watch this? Or you're actually attacking this other movie. But this is just a show. Like, this is definitely religious. This is not some neutral ground like entertainment or whatever.
Yeah, but it's kind of interesting that people accuse Christians, movies of pushing a belief.
Yeah.
But what about these movies?
Yeah, I mean, if you just ask somebody, hey, you want to watch God's Not Dead with me? Oh, you trying to shove your religion down my throat? Well, we can watch The Craft. Oh, cool, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Powerful.
So now that we looked at some of these witchcraft movies and see that they're not just fantasy or some kind of neutral ground, but it really is a religious thing. It's spiritual. Look at what Disney's put out called Upside Down Magic.
Sabrina, we're here! Welcome to Sage Academy. You've been accepted to the world's greatest magic school for the world's greatest magic students. Sage has 5 distinct schools: fuzzies, flickers, flyers, fluxers, and flares.
I wish I just had a little more control over wacko animals I turn into. Was there some llama in there? It felt like a little bit of llama.
By now, you're probably very clear as to which school you are in.
Nori, look! Awesome. What does yours say? UDM. What's a UDM?
Welcome to the School of Upside Down Magic.
So UDM means...
Upside Down Magic. Because you're wonky, and you're weird, and your magic is defective.
But we get to do magic, though, right?
No, we do not.
Why can't we study magic?
Because your magic is the perfect host for shadow magic. And UDMs are its sole target. You will stay down here. You will not practice magic, and your magic will die.
Come on! I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna prove to the entire faculty that we can be taught. We can do things the right side up way. You can be the shadow.
She is your best opportunity to fall even further behind.
Lori.
We need to keep you here to protect humanity.
So was there anything in there that stood out to you that seemed, did it all just look okay?
I mean, it's interesting that it's like upside down, and it's like we're here to protect humanity, when it's like, you know, these things are actually destroying humanity. I mean, it's just like opposite of what, you know, is really going on.
When I see that trailer, I just see a kid's version of The Craft. Literally all the same elements. Everything that was in the movie The Craft was in this. And what does the Bible call witchcraft?
An abomination.
Which is
actually like something God absolutely hates.
Yeah, look at this next clip.
You just think about fire and poof. I think about a cat and I turn into a terrifying abomination. That's why we're going to Sage. They're gonna teach you to be the best abomination you can be.
The best abomination you can be.
The best abomination.
I mean, it's almost like, can we sugarcoat? Can we just, you know, dumb it down to this kid-friendly version, and then use the terminology so that kids think about what's happening here. A kid is watching that, listening to that. I guarantee you, a kid is not reading the portions of the Bible where we understand where this is coming to be an abomination.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, you know, I've read these verses to my kids, but if I actually like went and asked them today, which I haven't read it to them in a while, and said, hey, what's an abomination? They might be like, I don't know. But if they sit down and they watch something like this that programs their mind, now, like an abomination, oh, it's something funny or something to be desired.
Well, either way, either way, the context, she's saying everything I do is just an abomination. Like, it's not good. Well, they're going to teach you to be the best abomination.
Wow.
So they're going to teach you to be, whatever that bad thing is, they're going to teach you to be the best one.
Wow. Yeah.
But I'm going to show some screenshots here from The Craft and from this show, and look how exactly similar they are. We saw the pentagram in the forehead. Did you notice that just in that trailer, you could count probably 10 to 12 pentagrams in a Disney movie?
Upside down.
Blatant.
Wow.
Right there on the, I mean, it's everywhere. Banners, this desk, the t-shirt, just straight up in your face, pentagram. The levitation. Yeah. That's what we were talking about. Those girls were playing light as a feather, stiff as a board. They were levitating. And The Craft, when she was, the camera showed her feet, her toes were sliding across the floor. It was like scary and creepy. But this kid, floating right up in front. Hey, that's fun.
Excited.
Yeah, it's colorful. It's kid friendly.
Why is always that like, ooh, like, wow, you went off the ground like a foot? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why is that so just like, oh, wow, for people when it's like,
not very often.
Do it.
Yeah, but it's like, really? Like,
you ever wanted to fly?
Sure, but.
I mean, there you go.
Yeah.
If they could only see if the veil fell down and you saw two demons on either side, like.
Right.
Terrified.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
Disney loves to be like all inclusive, right? So they have princesses from like many different cultures and ethnicities, and they've had different religions too. They've had Hinduism and included yoga and spiritualism. Now they have witchcraft. Do you think they'll ever touch on Christianity?
I don't think so.
Right.
It might be like
princess. She wears like a really nice dress all the way up, fully covered. No makeup or earrings.
Kind of everyone.
And then in the next frame, you got their books, you know? They're living by this book, like a Bible. But in the movie The Craft, it was a book called The Craft. And then this one is called A Primer of Shadow Magics. I want you guys to look at that word, look at the way it's spelled, and is there anything interesting about the spelling of this book?
Spelled with a K.
Shadow, and the Magics has a K.
Why is it spelled with a K? If anybody would just Google that alone, you don't got to add any other words, just Google magic with a K, look what shows up.
So yeah.
Magic Thelema. Magic in the context of Aleister Crowley's Thelema is a term used to show and differentiate the occult from performance magic. This is differentiating the occult from performance magic. So when they're looking at a black book that looks scarier than the book on The Craft, literally.
So it's almost like magic with a C is the performance version of it. That's the Disney version of it. Magic with a K is the real life evil
black
which
magic.
is now the Disney version.
I think what they're saying is like the sleight of hand stuff, illusion like magic versus the dark
occult
stuff, occult stuff. I think that's the distinction.
Yeah.
And this is the show Disney for kids.
Just to be clear, is one okay and one isn't? So you can go into the practice of illusion, and there's a line between that and spiritualism?
Well, I think the very basis of illusion is based on deception. So I think on that premise alone, it's like this is not something that I do not see Jesus up in heaven going, "Hey guys, I got a trick for you."
Yeah, give them a deck of cards.
You know what I mean? No, like it just isn't going to be something that you're going to experience in heaven. I don't think.
What about scaring your kids though? Like, come here, I got to show this.
Oh, I'm all for pranks. Let's do it. No, I'm joking. Just to clarify.
My black belt lessons, they were named after a term that meant illusion. Because the way you were manipulating the body was designed to make you think you were doing one thing, but then you were doing another. So for example, if I go and I hit him in the back of the kidney, the reaction is,
I would puke.
you kind of react to that. It's designed, like nerve reaction. Well, then it opens up the entire front because that's, protruded. And so then you're doing something else to the front. So you're kind of designing how you want them to move so that you can create further pain. But it's, it's an illusion. You'll block and you go around behind and that kind of stuff.
In other words, not for good.
Yeah, but illusion.
So, and right here on the cover, you got the pentagram. So, I mean, it's all tying together. We see a Disney show now called Upside Down Magic. They have a black book spelt with a K, which is, Aleister Crowley is saying, this is the occult. This is straight up the occult. The pentagram, which is all over the show. They're not hiding it. They're levitating. They're making fire come out of their hands. It's exactly the same stuff. It's a less sugar on this, but we've been so desensitized over the years to think that this is just fun that now you can be a little more open, pentagrams and everything. I can't imagine what it's going to be like 10 years from now.
I wonder why that's why Jesus, made that statement when he said, not everybody that says, Lord, Lord, will be saved, right? And he says, get away from me, you workers of iniquity. There's going to be a lot of people that are, quote unquote, followers of Christ that are like, look at what we did. We cast out all these people, demons in your name and all this kind of stuff. And he says, look, I don't know you because you guys are working with this. I think that's where the distinction between our Christian walk and the way the world works, it has to be a clear line. It has to be a clear, distinctive, separation. And this is just, I think, inching you closer into that mindset, and it's playing with the devil's fire.
Mikey, can you help me to read Acts 19:19?
Yeah. Also, many of those who had practiced magic brought their books together and burned them in the sight of all. And they counted up the value of them, and it totaled 50,000 pieces of silver, Acts 19:19.
So this is not a new problem.
Right.
I mean, this is a problem that I think the devil has been working with different cultures throughout time. And you can see the trail of witchcraft and sorcery since the very beginning. Yeah. I mean, look at this. This is a prime example. Like something happened in that apostolic, time where people realized this is not good. Let's get rid of this. Yes. Let's put this away. Yeah. And needed to burn them. You know what I mean?
Don't sell it. Don't give it away.
Yeah, exactly. Not like donate it to the local library. I mean, this was like get rid of this thing. And so, I think we're at that same stage now where it's like, it's becoming such commonplace. We need to just separate ourselves from it and not have anything to do with it.
Yeah, totally. And let me tell you, and right here in the Bible says when they heard the name of God and Jesus, it's like you need to burn all those books. But let me tell you, 50,000 pieces of silver. I mean, that was spendy. I mean, I don't know if you guys know, but I mean, I was watching this guy's testimony, coming, worship, the devil for like 25 years. He had maybe $100,000 invested on stuff. Wow. Because all those, they want to do all this stuff. I mean, the Tudor bats or something. I mean, it costs you, $300. Wow. I mean, do you want to go to the cave and get it, or you want me to just sell it to you here? You know what I'm saying? And all these blood things, I mean, this is spendy. Yeah.
Books are one thing, but it says in Exodus 22:18, you shall not suffer a witch to live. Wow. I mean, it's a steep penalty in Old Testament times. It's like, nope, they don't live. Sorry, that's the end of that.
Yeah.
When you come into the land, the Lord, which your God is giving you, you shall not learn to follow the abominations of those nations. There shall not be found among you anyone who makes his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or one who practices witchcraft, or a soothsayer, or one who interprets omens, or a sorcerer, or who conjures up spells, or a medium, or a spiritist, or who calls up the dead.
There was a key point in the beginning of that. Did you guys catch that? In the beginning?
Don't
read
follow
it
after.
No, not even following.
Don't learn?
Don't even learn.
Wow.
Don't watch, don't learn, don't have it in your mind.
Yeah. And what are you doing by watching all these little things? You're
learning.
learning about the
It's new information. You're learning.
Yeah, new information. So I hope you guys, you're watching, these LED, we're trying to expose, we're doing these things. We learn and share with other people, the truth, what the Word of God saying, because we need Christ. We need more Christ in our life.
This time of the year is such a temptation for people to go, oh, let's watch Casper or whatever. It's like, I don't know why. It's like, it's October, it's Halloween. Like you just, we got to watch those horrible movies. Just don't.
Yeah, and all the trailer for all the horror films and stuff come out.
Well, The Craft is being released on Halloween. Why? It's fitting, right?
So once again, the Bible, the Lord says, it's abomination to me. I don't want you learn it. I don't want you practice, because it's not just about you, but also your kids. You're going to be bringing that to your kids, to sacrifice your kids in the idols. Do you want to bring your kids to the idols or sacrificing all stuff? We can just put out lots of videos, I'm sure, out there, more crazy ones. What people practice, witchcraft and everything.
I can hear the questions now, or the accusations, like, man, you hypocrites, like you just said don't learn, but you guys seem to be really knowledgeable about this stuff. It's like, no, well, there's a difference between learning it and being aware of it. We're all aware, but do any of you know how to cast a spell? Like, have you ever read the Craft book? No. Like, we understand that it's wrong. We're aware of these things that are out there that we should avoid, but we haven't sat down and watched all the series. We don't, know how to invoke spirits and all these things. That's what we're saying, don't learn.
Where most people are watching them because they want to. They want to be entertained, where we're saying, I'm going to figure out everything that's wrong with this and show it. We're not going into it for entertainment value.
But we don't even watch them.
Yeah, that's true.
like literally, I want to make that clear, that we're not sitting down just like watching these things all day long to try to even point out what's wrong with them. I've come to the place where I don't even want this in my head. And so it's like, I can read about it. You can watch a trailer. You can do a little bit of research on the internet about it, and within a short amount of time, you understand what's going on and like why you should not. But I don't need to sit down and actually watch it to know what's wrong with it. You know what I mean?
Just like that Upside Down Magic, man, the trailer.
It was just a trailer. Just like 3 minutes.
Oh yeah, pentagram.
Yep.
Right?
Revelation 18:23, the light of a lamp shall not shine in you anymore, and the voice of the bridegroom and bride shall not be heard in you anymore. For your merchants were the great men of the earth, for by your sorcery all nations were deceived.
Wow. So in the book of Revelation, the last book, prophetic.
End times.
All nation, end times. It says all nations is going to be deceived. By what? By food?
Yeah.
By sorcery. So I have a question for you guys. That's why sometimes we started that seminar, right? Like, when you come into work this morning, do you see any sorcerers, like that, doing spells and shaking with no head or something? But the Bible says that all nations are going to be deceived.
So it must be a little
more
deceptive.
So what is it?
Yep.
Be more subtle.
Yep. I think it's like everything else. If we get dumbed down with familiarity with sorcery, we're less inclined to spot it and be sensitive to it down the road. Yeah. And so it's just like kind of conditioning us, like, like if we watch violence all the time, when we see violence in the street, we're going to be less apt to it. I think the same thing applies to sorcery.
Yeah, totally. But before we're going to be finished this episode, I just want to bring, some promises. We want to hear something good. We want to hear what the Lord has for us, some promises to help us out to go to fight darkness. And I'm sure, we find a lot of them, but I have 2 of them. But I believe those 2 is small but powerful. That's what, we sometimes kind of like, small, powerful. And Acts 18:10.
Acts 18:10. For I am with thee, and no man shall set on thee to hurt thee, for I have much people in this city.
So the promise is that God is going to be with us. Nobody's going to hurt you. Nobody's going to attack you. That's what he said.
Amen.
Yeah, don't have that mindset of Elijah. I'm the only one. And he's like, no, I have like thousands all over the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're never alone.
And also in Proverbs 4:14, please, Candy, help us.
Yeah, it says, enter not into the path of the wicked, and go not in the way of evil men.
So don't even go there, man. Yeah. I mean, sometimes we say like, hey, please don't touch the stuff, since younger age, your parents tell us that. And the Lord is always telling us, like, please don't go to that path, of the wicked, No, I mean, don't go. I mean, do not walk in that. Don't walk in the way of the evil, It's going to be destroy your life. Yeah. So I just want to, share with you guys, what's going on. And I believe that, sharing the light of Christ in this crazy world, we cannot wait, just to see our Creator.
So in the beginning of this episode, we were talking about upbringings and how, we all grew up Christian, but the culture and the society around us wasn't really upholding our Christian beliefs. And we had Halloween, and what was the name of your...
Dia de las Brujas, Day of the Witch.
Day of the Witch, right? What practical tips would you have for parents watching, or even young people? How do you stay out of the path of the wicked, out of evil men's way? How do you keep yourself separate from society as a Christian when it's all around you?
First thing you have to do is not be afraid of being different. I remember when I got moved around to a lot of different schools growing up. There was one school I have some distinct memories from. I was in 4th or 5th grade, and I was friends with this Jehovah's Witness little boy. And I remember at Halloween time, he and another girl who was a Jehovah's Witness, they had to go out of the room for all the activities that went on at school. Of course, school is, all they were doing is just, let's have a party and some cookies and candy and this kind of stuff. And I don't know, maybe some of them were dressed up, but they were not taking part in any of that. And I thought, man, I feel sorry for them. They can't be a part of the fun and all that. But, looking back on it, really feel sorry for everybody else. Yeah. Because it's just inching you that much closer to these kind of things. And so I would say, don't be afraid to be different. Daniel's friends were not afraid to be different. They stood up when everybody was bowed down. So, God is with you no matter how few in number you think that you are.
Yeah. I love that answer because, when you're younger, you want to fit in. Everything I don't know why we have that desire to fit in, but as older now, I'm like, I'm proud that I'm not like all them. It's like I don't want to be like a sheep like everybody else. I want to be different. Even as a teenager, I want to be different. And so I'm trying to teach my daughter that now early. I'm telling her like, when she goes to hang out with somebody or something, I say, if they want to do something that is bad, like you be the shining light, you be the salt, you be the one, the good influence. I want you to influence them. Don't be influenced by them. I want you to be the shining light, and I just try to make that look like that's the thing that you want to be. I lift that up as a good feature to be different and to be positive. When I said they're going to try to bring you down because they know that it's wrong and they don't want to go down alone. They want to bring you with them. So I was like, you stand for truth.
And I think another thing that I try to do, at least with my children as well, is try to open dialogue with them, talk with them, and then get them to be able to help make those decisions as well. So it's like, my job as a parent is trying to teach that child to be able to make those decisions so that when they grow up and they're not within my care, they got to stand on their own 2 feet. And if I make all those decisions for them all the way, even though they're going to choose things that I don't like, and if I keep that dialogue open and I say, this is what the Bible says, this is what God wants us to order our lives like, and then help them make those decisions, I think that you can get them strong to be able to make those choices to be different and not feel like so pressured by society.
I think it kind of goes back to that, like what you're saying is there's a mental shift that needs to happen because it's like we think that if we do something different, we're going to be alone. We don't want to be alone. That's what the devil's playing on, is we want to be included because we don't want to be alone. But the reality is you're not alone, but that's the lie that devil is trying to tell us each, is that you're alone if you do that. You're alone, you're alone, you're alone, but you're not alone.
Good point.
God says, I will never leave you nor forsake you.
Amen.
And so we just have to have that mental shift and realize we're not alone.
Well, it'd be cool for Christian parents to come together and create a community for their children from young. Make gatherings fun for the kids. They're seeing all the other kids go trick-or-treating and playing and doing those things. Well, make it known that within the body of Christ, it is fun. It can be lighthearted, and to have that for the children as well.
Yeah, I think you want to be honest with your kids too. Like, we've raised our kids to eat a plant-based diet. So, I know some people have strong feelings about that, whatever. But we're always honest with our kids, because my wife and I both grew up eating meat.
And you tell them chicken is tasty?
Yeah, I'll be like, totally. I mean, was the burger good? You bet it was good. I liked it. Did I like the chicken? Yeah, I liked the chicken.
Double cheese.
I don't eat it because of health reasons. It has nothing to do with the taste. It's never had anything to do with the taste. Like, does it smell good? Yes. Does it taste good? Yes. And so we're always honest with them. We're like, yeah, it tastes good. Like, all these like really sweet and decadent things, they taste good. I mean, we'll be honest with you. Yeah, it tastes amazing, but it's not good for you. And so we're not going to sit there and lie, because I've heard of people do that. Like, oh, that tastes bad. Oh, yeah. And then their kid tries it and they're like, this isn't bad. You don't want to lie to your kids.
They're addicted to it.
I think that was the issue that I hear a lot with drugs. I think a lot of parents were like, if you try it once, you're going to get addicted and it's terrible and you're not going to have fun and, your life's going to be destroyed. And then that kid tries it once and it's like the first time their life wasn't destroyed. And they're just like, well, then everything my parents said was a lie. And then from there on out, it becomes more of a problem. So yeah, you got to be honest with them and just say, hey, look, sin may be exciting and fun for a season, but the long-term effect of that is going to destroy your life. And that's what I see here with this. You know what I mean? Yeah, it may be exciting if you watch these movies or if you engage in witchcraft and this and that. I mean, there may be some elements that you're like, wow, this is amazing and feels powerful, but the ultimate result is that it will destroy your soul.
Yeah. I always, my girls, they were going to a Christian school, and then later on it was 6 years of homeschooling. But in the Christian school, for Halloween, they're doing Halloween. They're doing harvest something party or something like that.
It was more like a sort of a
fall fest.
Yeah, fall festival
or something.
Kind of thing.
But they dress not as witches,
scary,
so it's
but,
not scary, but but they still dress. And they do fun things, whatever. And I didn't like the idea either. This is my personal thing. I don't know, and I just want to, it's open.
Yeah, because it's so close. You're towing the line.
What is it? Like, do I need to stay home? I mean, I need to take my, and then my girl's like, hey, all my friends are gonna be over there having fun, and there are games and everything, Yeah. And it's something like, and I know some churches they do that too,
Trunk or treat.
And just. They don't go anywhere, but they dress whatever. So I just want to. What is you guys? Takes.
I seen an interesting video on Trunk or Treat, and this guy, it's where a church parking lot, people pull up with their cars and they open their trunks and there's candy all in there. So it's a safe place for Christians to come and get candy and not be out there in the world or whatever. But this guy, a Christian YouTuber, was walking up to one of those. He went to a church on the church property and went up there and was like, you're a Christian? Like, oh yeah, this is my church. And he's looking in the trunk and there's skeletons and spiders and everything hanging down. And he's like, what's up with all this death and stuff? They're like, oh, it's just
decoration,
Halloween or whatever. Yeah, it's like, he said, this looks no different at all than Halloween. Like, what's the point of even having this? It was pretty eye-opening to see that even the Christian version of Halloween still had death everywhere.
The veggie version.
I think if you're trying to basically see how close to the line you can get in that application,
you might as well do it.
Yeah, you might as well do it at that point. I don't like that. I don't really have a problem with dressing up, so to say, if you have an alternative and it's a different alternative. I know my kids, they love to, like, you know, put on a little outfit and, like, you know, they'll try on funny clothes or something like this. And so, you know, any kind of excuse to have a kid be able to do that. But it can't be in the same, like, exact, like, you know, it's like almost whitewashed version of that activity. I think it just needs to be something totally different. And I remember the schools that I grew up, they did like a fall frolic type of a thing, and they had games, and they had, you know, people that would make funnel cake and food and this and that, and it's like, it wasn't Halloween, but it was something that, like, the kids got a chance to go to and have fun and play these games and do all this.
Something safe.
Yeah, and so they offered something totally different, but it was like, and then I think it took the kids' minds away from what that activity was doing on that night, and it became this totally other thing. So I think, you know, if at all possible, you know, make a separation. I think it's okay to have an alternative in certain cases, but just don't make an alternative in the church parking lot with witches and goblins and be like, okay, it's safe now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So throw in a bonus promise. 3 John 11. Beloved, do not, or maybe not a promise, but advice. Do not imitate what is evil, but what is good. He who does good is of God, but he who does evil has not seen God.
Yeah. And I can't wait to the day that we get a chance to see God. You know, I believe that day is coming soon. So we hope and pray that you guys will stay in the path of the truth, and that you will let the light of Christ direct your paths. And we thank you guys so much for tuning in to LED Live here and for checking us out. If you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing. We've got a lot of cool content that we like to put out, and we're always trying to take what's going on in the world and focus it through the lens of the Bible.
And also, I just want to invite you guys to like our Little Light Studios in Spanish. And I know you guys speak English, but you never know, you have a family members or friends, and just share with us, share the channel and Little Light Studios en Español.
We thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next Friday.